Educational Insights, a Slate Valley unified podcast. Hosted by Superintendent Brooke Olsen-Farrell. Episode number 18, Slate Valley Community Perspectives. Part 2.
Hello, and welcome to Slate Valley's Educational Insights podcast, where we connect with people who make our district special and talk openly about what matters most to our schools and communities. I'm joined today by Fairhaven resident Roseanne Van Loo and Castleton resident Bob Crowley, two active members of our community who bring valuable insights and experiences to the conversations. And along with them is our Director of Curriculum, Casey O'Mara. So in general, we talked a bit about the Community Advisory Committee. We've really tried to intentionally work on our outreach and communication. How do you think the district is doing overall at reaching people?
In my opinion, as far as by way of social media, I think the district is doing a very good to great job because you offer many options. The only thing that I would suggest is that being in the older retiree generation, there's a lot of people that don't, access social media or don't even bother with computers. So my suggestion would be, and, of course, would be some dollars, but maybe a quarterly newsletter that's mailed out with just some buzzwords on it that they see the word, a quick explanation, and they go, what the heck's this? So that they dive into it more. And this way, they're gaining more information and are more up to speed on everything that's going on with education in Slate Valley.
That's a good idea. I like that idea.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot going on. So, Roseanne, is there any other suggestions that you can think of how we can engage with the community more?
I think at this point, with the exception, that's an awesome idea. Because that's one of the things that I've been trying to figure out myself. We have such an older population, and which is part, that's a big part of the, I don't want to call it a problem, but of the situation that so many of us keep looking at education as we knew it.
Exactly.
And it's not. And, Bob, your kids graduated a long time ago. I'm in the boat where, I've recently had a graduate. And so, but you're now working with your grandchildren. So we're kind of more attuned to what's happening, but there's so many older folks out there that really don't.
Yep. And when I did get involved with the grandchildren and what was going on in the school, it was an eye-opener. Education has gotten so convoluted, so it's not simple anymore.
No.
There are so many outside factors like drawing away from it instead of keeping with your core 3 R's. It's...
Well, there's a lot of social factors, right, that we are dealing with that wasn't part of school necessarily when we were growing up, right?
Absolutely.
And so whether folks agree with that being in the school or not, it is what it is right now. And so schools are taking on a lot of those parental responsibilities that we, don't necessarily, people may not agree with for sure, but regardless, that's part of the law and what we're charged with doing in some cases, right?
To Bob's point about sending something out in somewhat of a mailer, Lisa Cacciatore, our communications coordinator,
Yes.
the title, does put out a weekly, which goes out only through email, So I'm certain that we could take some part of that and
Yeah.
condense it in some way. So like the material's already there. We're already in a routine of doing this. So it would just be, as you suggested, figuring out when to condense it, how often to put that out to folks. So
Yeah, like
super
take your-
suggestion. So I don't think it's a whole lot more work for us. It's just about figuring out and the cost, as you said, and that
Yeah,
sort of thing.
and the
Yeah,
cost,
it's a
but like,
cost.
you know, over 3 months,
Yeah,
okay, what was the big thing
Right.
that happened this
Right,
budget? And
right.
then, you know, not a booklet, just
sure.
like a one-page something,
Yeah,
you know, and then contact information, like, you want to know more?
Questions, sure.
You know,
Yep.
contact, email.
Yeah.
yeah,
you know,
and
whatever.
I mean, we're open to anything. I mean, I get letters from community members, you know, which I write back to. We frequently engage in those types of exchanges as well.
Mhm.
So we're happy to communicate with anybody, you know, anyway, anytime, you know, schedule an appointment, talk
Mhm.
about what's on someone's mind. We're always happy to do that. So do you think most community members understand where school funding comes from and how it's distributed in Vermont?
No,
I do not, absolutely not.
no,
It took me a very long time going to all the school board meetings to, and I still don't know as I actually really understand it, but my understanding is that all the school districts across the state pool all their tax dollars into one pot, and then the state distributes it as it feels it should. Which,
Well, yeah, so we set our budget, you know, locally.
Mhm.
Taxpayers vote on that budget. All of that money goes up to the state, but from, you know, after it's voted on, it goes up to the state,
Right.
and then it's redistributed. But the total state spending determines your tax rate. So if you have one school, I mean, I'm trying to put it like in simplest forms. If you have one school district that's spending $25,000 per student, it's impacting the tax rate in Slate Valley. And so we can continue to cut and cut, and another school district can continue to add and add, and your taxes are still going to go up, possibly, right?
and see, that's not right. If we can, I hate to say it, but you know, I do go to school board meetings. I do watch when they're doing the budgets. I don't understand how this school district can manage to keep, is it still under 12,000 per student?
Yes, 11,500 something, I believe.
So why is that this school district that has so little, we can manage to keep it down to under $12,000 per student? Why are all these other school districts just spending willy-nilly?
And, you know, I don't know. I mean, everyone has a different.
That's
level
not
of
right, and they
confidence.
shouldn't be allowed to do that.
And I think that's part of what, you know, Act 73 was the governor's trying to address. But when folks keep voting down the budget locally, it's just harming our kids. It's not really lowering your tax rate by a whole lot
Yeah.
because of the impact of everyone else around us. So what concerns, if any, have you heard from like neighbors, community members about redistricting, school spending, priorities for next year's budget? What do you think people most want to know? We'll start with you.
well, I attended the meeting in Rutland,
Yes,
okay, and
the redistricting
the
meeting.
redistricting meeting, yep, and, the only thing that I can say a lot of words, but the only thing was shock. It was just shocking what a monumental overhaul they want to try to do in such a short amount of time. I'm not sure if they don't realize the gravity of what they're trying to do and the trying to do it for a state with different demographics. And I just think, and I've had conversation with neighbors and, you know, people at the local market pruners.
Mhm.
I don't think they grasp at what they're trying to do in such a short amount of time. And from what I saw at the Rutland meeting, I think if they stay along that timeline, it's just a recipe for disaster. I think there'll be winners and losers, but I think overall the students are going to be the losers big time. And just for the sake of trying to politically look like we saved money, we did a favor for the property taxpayers. I'm not optimistic. I'm hopeful. That's all I can say on that.
What about you, Roseanne?
Well, I'm pretty conservative, and I'll be completely honest with you. I don't understand how they believe that this Act 73 is going to be any better for the schools than, was it Act 46?
Yes.
The original consolidations.
Yes. That was Act 46.
We were promised, oh, it's going to save you so much money because, you'll only have to have so many of these, this administrative people, and you'll only have, and you can share. And all it's done is cost us more and more money.
Well, I think to that point, I mean, this district has closed a school, and we've, after the budget that we're proposing for next year, we will have eliminated 40 positions since Act 46. I think part of the issue is just what we were talking about, statewide spending in general, not just Slate Valley spending, but
Right.
the connection between that. So, I mean, I honestly think, and I'm not just saying that, as superintendent, our school board has done a really good job of being fiscally responsible and being attentive to those needs, but they can only control what's in their control.
Absolutely.
And also at the same time, you've had the exponential rise in cost of health insurance. That is totally directed by the state of Vermont. Like, we don't have a say in that. We get a percentage this year. Luckily, I mean, it's still, 7.3% is going to be the new increase in health insurance for next year, which is much better than what it's been in previous years. But still, if you look at over the last 5 years, it's gone up more than 40%. And it's a huge cost driver in our budgets.
Well, and you're not just looking at health insurance.
Right.
Full disclosure, I work in an insurance agency, so I see this constantly. And you're talking about transportation insurance for our buses. In the last 2 years, so last year, rates went up across the board between 15 and 20%. I'm sure everybody has felt that personally.
Absolutely.
And now this year again, they've gone up between 14 and 20%. It's nothing that can be, there's nothing that the school district can do. It's something that has to be done on the state level. And they're not addressing it as much as they should be, as far as I'm concerned.
So yeah, I mean, another huge add to the tax rate is when local communities pass construction bonds for their schools. Everyone in the state pays for that. That is not a local cost. So the fact that we have a lot of communities around the state who are passing large bonds, that is a cost that's borne by all taxpayers in the state. Slate Valley, tried to pass a bond in 2020. We weren't successful. Had we been successful, everyone in the state would have paid for that. So, again, we're paying for other people in the state, and continually cutting our budget, which takes away opportunities for students to do that. So I think that's something that folks need to take into perspective. And I totally get, the being fiscally responsible and folks' concerns around finance.
But it's really ticking me off. I'm sorry, Brooke, but it's really ticking me off that we're being all good and financially responsible,
Correct.
and everybody else around the state is getting brand new buildings here and there. Colchester.
Well,
Yeah.
that is a segue for promoting these meetings,
Yes.
because you can't get the back and forth dialogue at a school board meeting because of the rigidity.
Right.
Plus, the school board are meeting to take care of business.
Right.
They can't just focus on, school financing. They've got other business to take care of. And if we could somehow promote these CAC meetings, we have this back and forth where, well, why can't, we get our buildings fixed like Colchester does? And then pops in and says, well, this is why. And then you get that back and forth. So people's minds are like, oh, I didn't realize that. Or like when you're having a presentation on the wall,
Right.
okay, and people are sitting there and they've gotten their budget proposal and they haven't been involved at all. And they go, wow, look, we're spending how many millions of dollars? And then that defensive wall goes up because they haven't gotten the step-by-step process, okay, of why that budget is what it is, but how we're not paying the whole thing.
Right.
And just the simple format and the back and forth, I think, and I don't know how to get, because I've talked to people about these meetings.
Right.
I
Me
said,
too.
it's only an hour,
Well,
come down.
Dinner.
Just to, and they'll ask me, how'd you know that? I said, well, I went to the CAC meeting. What's that? And I try to explain it to them. And I tell them the next one that's scheduled.
Right. Yeah.
I said, I'll pick you up. Okay. Text me, email me.
It's kind of like a school board meeting, except you actually get to say something.
Well,
That, but the back, yeah,
It's meant to be.
Yeah, it's a public back and forth,
Opportunity.
right?
yeah,
Right
To
meeting.
engage in
Where
yes,
it's
and
a
it
meeting of
is.
the public, right?
And it's not a debate. It's not us versus them or anything. It's information where you ask the questions back and forth, not, well, just public comment and then the rest of
Yeah,
it you can't.
it's definitely not.
So I don't know how to get
Yes.
that message out, but this is a great learning tool for community
Absolutely.
members to come in and find out why, answer their questions, and then why is this happening? Because
Right.
go back and forth, but
I've
Right.
learned so much more here, probably with the exception of that one presentation I was telling you about.
Right.
With the cont'd test. I have learned so much more in the last year, I guess, I've been
Right.
coming to these, than I have at all at any of the school board meetings.
Yeah.
Um,
and
Yeah,
I think
because school board meetings are public meetings,
they
and
both
this
have
is a
their
meeting
place.
of the public, right?
right.
Like, so it's
Very
very,
well put.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well put.
Yeah, but and the people, conservatives in Slate Valley, all right, I've learned so much. I mean, I was ignorant 2 or 3 years ago when, they were talking 14, 15% rate, and I'm coming in and I'm saying, $500,000 for Castleton Elementary School, what's going on?
right.
Well, and even when the manager of finance tried to explain it, I was like, blank. It was like Greek to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've got to get that update every month to stay on top of it because it is just so complicated. But I don't know how to get more people coming to these meetings.
Always willing to have like a one-on-one, we can make an appointment, have coffee and talk
Yeah.
about, like, let's get the budget out. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, when you had the meetings with the representatives here.
Legislature.
Right.
Look at the
Yeah.
turnout that was.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
All
And we
right.
plan on doing that again.
That's
once
right.
the-
But now where are the people I went to those meetings and want to see how things are going every month?
Right, right. Any final thoughts that you haven't already shared?
The only thing I can do is reiterate what I just said. So community members, get involved early. Don't wait for that budget proposal to come out that everybody's going to vote on. You've missed the boat on why these figures are what they are. And the way to do that is through these CAC meetings.
Roseanne, final word?
Yeah, if you're not willing to get involved, stop whining.
Casey, anything from you?
I just appreciate that the two of you consistently do come to these meetings, because when Brooke and I were talking a few years ago about how do we find another opportunity to provide people in the community a chance to visit with us, because the purpose of our school board meetings is to conduct business. We do have an agenda, but it's meant to be a little more fluid and flexible.
Mhm.
And we've often wondered, should we continue to do this? Should we continue to do this? Because we've always
You have
wondered
to.
if it's
Yeah.
helpful. So just listening to both of you talk about how it does make its way into Pruniers or other places, even if only two of you come, I think for us says, all right, it is worth our time to have this, because you are getting the message out to other people.
Right.
So,
We're trying.
yeah, no, so thank you. All you can do is try. So
We're trying. So
appreciate you continuing to attend these meetings.
Well, thank you so much, Roseanne and Bob, for sharing your thoughts, and Casey too. We always appreciate the honest feedback. Conversations like this are what help us grow stronger as a district, ensuring that we continue to meet the needs of students while being transparent and fiscally responsible with the resources entrusted to us. As we approach the new FY27 budget vote in March, and more unfolds on the redistricting plan in the state, we will continue to share updates, answer questions, and make sure every community has information they need to make informed decisions. As always, you can find the latest budget details, board meeting dates, and news on our Slate Valley website and social media pages. For our listeners and viewers, thank you for tuning in and being part of our community. Until next time, Slate Valley.
Slate Valley Unified Union School District, November 4, 2025.